So can we begin?
Yeah, we can hear you.
To acquire knowledge, one must study. To acquire wisdom, one must observe. A very good evening to everyone present here.
With immense respect to our rich Ayurvedic heritage and with a deep sense of curiosity about how we pass it on,
We welcome you all to the Samhita Sambhasha, next generation teaching to the new curriculum of Samhita Adhyayana, organized by the Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad.
this session is not just a discussion. It's a bridge between timeless wisdom and the minds that will carry it forward.
Before we begin this enlightening session of Samhita Sambhasha, let us invoke the divine and seek the blessings of the Almighty.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Ashvinaya Dharirishodravasvani Shubhaspati Guru Bhuja Janasyatam Ashvina Purudam Sasanarashaviraya Dhiya Dhishnyavanasam Giraha Dasra Yuva Bhavatsusana Satya Vrittavarhita Ayatam Vrittavartani Harihi Om.
Now, it is time to introduce our esteemed guest speaker for the session. I kindly invite Dr. Anand Katti sir to introduce our distinguished speaker, Dr. Prabhakar B. Hegde, Professor, Department of Samhita Siddhanta, KLE BMK Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Belagavi, and formally welcome the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Sabhayan Namaha. Yo Vishwam Vidadati Pati Satatam Samhara Yatenjasa Srishtva Divya Mahoshadhischa Vividhan Duri Karotyamayan Vibranonjalina Chakasti Bhuvane Piyusha Purnam Ghatam Tam Dhanvantari Rupam Ishamamalam Vanda Maheshrayase. Very good evening to all of you. As it was told in the beginning, every month on 21st, we conduct a Sambhasha on behalf of Samhita Siddhanta, and this is called as Samhita Sambhasha. It's an initiative of Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad. And today happens to be a session by Dr. Prabhakar Hegde, sir. Dr. Prabhakar Hegde is a associate professor, a professor in the Department of Samhita Siddhanta at KLE's BM Kankanavadi Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Belagavi. And ironically, he happened to be one of the expert among the 10-member expert committee which shaped the present curriculum devised by the NCISM. Now, I formally extend a very cordial welcome to Sir for this session. I also take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Manoj Chaudhary ji, Dr. Bharat Chauragade ji, Dr. Nikita Sharma ji, and all the teachers who have gathered here. Formally acknowledge the support given by our team of organizing committee, which also includes the likes of the National Executive Committee like Yogesh Chandra Mishra ji, Professor Govind Shukla ji, Mahesh Vyas ji, Anil Shukla ji, and the zone-wise members are also there as Rohit Ranjan, Venkat Shodu sir, Umang Pandya sir, Sangeeta Mishra, Arvind Kumar Gupta ji. I formally welcome everyone. Now, as far as today's session is concerned, one has to know the fact that for the past 70 odd years after the independence, we've been teaching the Samhita Adhyayana, and even after the advent of the erstwhile CCIM, which came as during the 1970s, when the Charaka Samhita, etc., were given to us to teach. As a teacher of Samhita, we were doing it. We were doing it in the way that we thought we were in a position to communicate everything in the Samhitas with the students. Now, over a period of time, a need analysis was done by the NCISM, where they found out the fact that the present teaching methods are not enough, not sufficient to impart a quality teaching amongst the stakeholders, the students specifically. So, an entire curriculum was designed in such a way that we include the current day practices of teaching and training, and thereafter we'll be doing our training in an efficient way so that everything that I want to communicate, the student will be understanding. And it is also my duty to see that my student have understood what all I wanted to convey in the way that I wanted it. So with this background, the curriculum has been shaped, redesigned. However, there are nuances around it. There are various charts and tables that the syllabus is offering. We must be aware of everything before we really start putting the teaching into the practice. Now, one should know the fact that this, the Samhita Adhyayana, which Samhita Adhyayana is the subject that is in my hand. Samhita Adhyayana 3 is the third professional students subject, which actually started in the March of this year. So therefore, many of the institutions are, and the universities are organizing periodically the training sessions so that every teacher is equipped with the teaching technology to do the training in an efficient way. In that background, we also, from the Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad, we also thought that we should also, for the larger interest of the audience of the teachers across India, we thought that we should also have such a program, and thereby we are having it. And we are fortunate that we also have not just Dr. Prabhakar Hegde ji, we have Dr. Manoj Chaudhary ji, who is the convener of this session, who was also one among the expert committee member, I had to reckon. So therefore, it is a very time-needed topic, and obviously we know the fact that we have our own method of teaching technologies, maybe from Charakas, Triveda Jnanopayas, Adhyayana, Adhyapana, Tadvidya Sambhasha, or from the Upanishadic view of Aditi, Bodha, Acharana, Pracharana, which itself have been modified into those the domains of education which are coming as cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain. Even we can find out the Bloom's taxonomy through our own definitions of karma, etc. We have our own Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, etc., which all, barring what the Prashnashtaka, what the Padataha, Tadartataha, Prayojanataha concept of either Charaka or Vagbhata, all these are there. And with the development of newer technologies, new modifications, the modulations have occurred, and it is our duty for to imbibe them and to do the delivery in a most efficient way. So in that background, Dr. Prabhakar Hegde sir is here, and without further doing, I extend a cordial welcome to each one of the teachers who have gathered here, and I request Dr. Vibha to take it forward. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Without any further delay, let us begin today's much awaited session. We kindly request all the participants to hold their queries and doubts at the end of the session. A dedicated question and answer section will be held, during which participants may raise their hands and will be given the opportunity to speak. Now, I request our distinguished guest speaker to enlighten us.
Thank you, sir, for a beautiful introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Most respected conveners, co-conveners, and also the most respected president, chairman, as well as the subject coordinator of our Samhita Adhyayana 3 level, as well as co-chairmen and all the subject experts and SSET committee heads. I thank all my seniors for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be a part of this Samhita Adhyayana expert committee. So I'm also thankful for Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad to be a part of this today's guest lecture. And without further delay in this presentation, we directly see what is necessary for today's need of the hour. So I think if at all my slides are visible and I'm audible properly, so let us see what is today's guest speech on. Sir, is this slide is visible?
Yes, yes, sir. Slide is visible. You have to make it on full screen mode.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
is it okay,
perfect.
Sir?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. So, namaste, everyone present in this online meeting. So, today I am going to give the guest lecture on the topic which is allotted to me, next generation teaching, adopting to the new curriculum of Samhita Adhyayana 3. Myself, Dr. Prabhakar Hegde, Professor, Department of Samhita Siddhanta, Kahed, Keli Shri BMK Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Belagavi, Karnataka. So, this curriculum is being given by the National Commission for Indian System of Medicine, which was previously known as CCIM. So, in the beginning of this syllabus, you may find with the tagline, Shastram Jyotihi Prakashartam Darshanam Buddhiratmanah. So, in this tagline, the Samhita Adhyayana has been, the syllabus frame is been started, and subject code also is been given. And to have what is new adoption in this Samhita Adhyayana 3, we need to see what was old first. So let us have the glimpses that what was old in old pattern of Samhita Adhyayana, which was priorly known as Charaka Samhita Uttarardha. Let me show that slide first, then we can shift to the newer one. So previous syllabus for the third year or final year students, the subject name was different, which was known as Charaka Samhita Uttarardha. Total hours of teachings were 100 hours. Teaching content was limited. However, the teaching content, the prime content of this Samhita Adhyayana 3 is Charaka Samhita itself. In present curriculum, in old curriculum, there was a restriction only to Chikitsa Kalpa Siddhi. But in this present syllabus, there is a scope to have the other Samhitas study for the students. And only teaching hours were there in the previous syllabus, and only internal exams were there apart from final exams. This you can consider as Pancha Bhutas or Pancha Abhutas in other way. I am telling not the literal meaning what we take in Samhita Siddhanta. Okay. So then what is new in this? What is Vishesha of this syllabus? If you ask me what is new, it is Navanavina. What is this Navanavina? We need to note 9 important points in this curriculum of Samhita Adhyayana 3. First of all, the name of the subject is being changed and titled as Samhita Adhyayana 3. Subject code is also being given. There was no subject code as such in the previous syllabus. And total number of paper as before, 1 was there, and presently also there is 1 paper, not any addition to this. And total number of teaching hours is 150, which includes lecture hours as well as the non-lecture hours, which sum up to 150 hours. In addition to this, there is a scope to learn elective course by final year students. There are different elective courses. They need to learn these elective courses even in final year. And mapping of CO and PO is being given. CO, which stands for course outcome, and PO, which stands for program outcome. And after that, 6th point, we need to see the most important introduction is to non-lecture methodology. We used to have only lecture methodology type of teaching in previous syllabus, but there is a scope for non-lecture methodology. Now, introduction to periodic assessment is also there apart from term tests or internal assessments. We used to have only internal assessments, but in addition to those internal assessments, there are introduction to several mainly nine periodic assessments are introduced. So this is new in this, and evaluation methodology also been given how to evaluate the periodic assessments. Apart from these, given evaluation methodology, you can adopt various methodologies which are newer than the prescribed one, which is going to be asked if the college is going to have the QCI inspection. Those people and those inspectors will ask what is new adoption apart from the given methodologies by NCS. So you need to go beyond this evaluation methodologies also, not to restrict the given methodologies here. So we understood what is Navanavina in this. Now what is common? Yes, there are few points which are very common to previous syllabus as well as the new syllabus. The number of papers stands same. Now and then, no practicals was there, and now also there is no practical in the present curriculum. So this how the new and old and the common points are there in the old and the new syllabus, which is titled as Samhita Adhyayana 3. So if you sum up, the summarization of this previous slides is there are 50 hours of teaching and 100 hours of non-lecture hours teaching. Total 150 hours are there to teach students about Samhita Adhyayana 3 in the final year. And also if you look at the marks distribution, total 200 marks are distributed. One, it is purely given to theory paper, 100 marks are allotted, and 100 again, the plus 100 marks are allotted for practical. And in this practical, 75 marks are directly given through Viva. Again, there is a bifurcation, how the Viva should be conducted out of 75 marks. And in addition to this 75 marks, there is an elective course for final year students. And for that, you will get 10 marks. And the periodic assessments and term tests are the sum of what we get. The total, it should be of 15 marks to the university. So it goes to 100 marks, total 100 and 100 for paper 1, and the subtotal with the Viva, it goes to 200 marks in this curriculum. So this is the introduction. I am not going to read these all what is there in the syllabus. However, you are going to have the detailed explanation what is there in syllabus slide by slide. So this is most important table, the page where it explains about the various tables and its importance. So I am not going to show this. Apart from these, there are very important point to highlight. The summarization of this page is like this. The first table is meant for course learning outcome and mapped with PO. I told that what is CO and PO. The mapping of course, BMS and program professional outcome, that is BMS first, second, third. These are mapped. So this stand as a first table. And second table is the content of the course. What is the content of the course we see in the next slide. And in the third table, you are going to have the most important objectives of learning. Must to know, desire to know, nice to know. These are important points which are highlighted in third table. And fourth table stands for COs mapped with NL activities. And fifth table, which is not applicable for us and which is applicable for practicals for the other subjects apart from Samhita Adhyayana 3. And distribution of theory examination blueprint, it has been explained in the sixth table. These are 6 important tables to have a proper idea about Samhita Adhyayana 3. So if you see the table 1, I told that's mapping of CO and POs. Okay, there are course outcomes are mentioned, and these course outcomes which are there in the left side mapped with the program outcome. So this has been done in the first table. And most importantly, followed by this first table, there are course contents. What is there in the chapter? So we have highlighted under the title, contents of the course. So which is going to stand as a table number 2. And this course content explains, term, which syllabus need to be covered, and how much marks allotment is being given to that section. Okay, and what distribution is there for that chapter, lecture hours and non-lecture hours, all details are there in this table 2. And if you see the table 3, so here most important is must to know, desire to know, nice to know categorization. Must to know is very important, and maximum questions in exams will be from this slot, and we have titled it as must to know content, and it is going to be a maximum of 75 to 80 range it takes. And what about remaining percentage of the syllabus? It is for those students who is having desire to know and nice to know categorization of students. They willingly try to understand what is left out syllabus apart from must to know. And must to know teaching is very important to students. And also for the question paper setters, there are limitations in short question answers as well as in long questions. There must not be any questions from desire to know and nice to know from the long question answers. These need to be kept in mind for question paper setters. So this is important for teachers as well as students, the categorization of must to know, desire to know, and nice to know mentioned in table number 3. Apart from this, the NLH activities term-wise distribution is being given. See, first term, how many chapters need to be covered? In second term, how many chapters needs to be covered? And in third term, how many chapters need to be covered along with the follow-up of non-lecture activities. So after taking each lecture, you need to have the non-lecture activity. There is a problem in the setting of a timetable. If you keep the lecture hour in 1 week and non-lecture activity in another week, that is not going to be very helpful for teachers as well as the students. I will share this idea at the end of this presentation, how the setup of lecture and non-lecture should be for the easiest way of understanding the content of the syllabus to the students by teacher. So this is the first term syllabus, which is mentioned as a non-lecture, which start with the point 17. 17 stands as a non-lecture activity. Before this, lecture hour 16th. And in second term, it starts with the 37th. And before this, there is the content which is related to the lecture hours and which stands for the second term. And apart from this, the 50 point onwards, the third term non-lecture activities which are highlighted under this numerical numbers. Now, coming to the distribution of various NLH hours. So there are various activities, non-lecture activities, mainly 14 non-lecture activities. Here, application of fundamental principles, which we have kept as a first one. And second one is a Sambhasha, cross-sectional. These are all going to be in the next slides. But most importantly, first term, how many fundamentals need to be covered? 6. Second term, 6. Third term, 6. Total, 18. Likewise, different non-lecture activities are there, and numbers term-wise also been highlighted in the syllabus. And if you see the periodic assessments and evaluation methods, they have given even the evaluation methods, how to assess periodic assessments, maybe in the form of a clinical performance you can take. You can take Viva, you can have MCQs, you can have MEQs, you can have open book tests, you can have summary writing, you can have class presentation, workbook maintenance, etc. Problem-based assessment can also be done. Likewise, projects also be given to the students, which is feasible or most apt periodic, assessment, which is suitable for that particular syllabus need to be adopted for this particular periodic assessments. And Apart from this, which all topic need to be covered for particular periodic assessment is being highlighted. Say for example, for first periodic assessment, topic 1 to 4 or the related NL activities. Okay. Periodic assessment 2, topics 5 to 8, that is chapter, and NL activity related to again 17. Okay. Likewise, the programming of the syllabus in connection with the periodic assessment has been done and blueprint is been given. So here distribution of practical exams, I told how the distribution of those 100 marks is being done. As far as this practical exam is concerned, apart from the theory exams, 100 marks. Here recitation of shloka will be given 10 marks, non-lecture activity 10 marks, or maintenance of that particular journal or file 10 marks, assessment communication skills 5 marks, clinical case taking 10 marks, Viva OC 40 marks, internal assessment 15 marks, which is to be sent through the assessment of the periodic assessment at the end to the universities. And elective courses already they have opted, it is going to yield 10 marks. These all going to make 100 marks in total. This is how the distribution of the 100 marks is done for practical. And these are the reference books, various reference books we have highlighted. Here just I have highlighted a few reference books. So if you see the pattern of question paper setting, so there must be 20 MCQs. All questions are must. Okay, and each MCQ carries 1 mark. Likewise, total 20 MCQs will be there in the final exam. And along with this, there are short question answers are 8, which carries 5 for each questions, and which attributes 40 marks. And there will be 4 long questions, and which carries 10 marks each, and which attributes to 40 marks. Total 100 marks are given purely for theory exams, and practical exams I already mentioned in the previous slide. So apart from this, which question need to be taken from which part? The MCQs, the chapter wise, yes or no we have mentioned. SAQs, yes or no we have mentioned. And the long answer questions we have mentioned, yes or no. So likewise, we have selected some of the, most of the chapters are there, but some of the chapters we have left there, mentioned it as no, where there is mentioned as no. For example, in long question, Vajikaran, see 10 marks question, it is not going to be for the content of this Vajikaran. Likewise, wherever no is mentioned, there should not be any long questions on that. And wherever yes is mentioned, you can follow the questions from that chapter. So distribution of NLH activities already I have mentioned. I am not going to take much time on this slide. See, total 14 NLH activity which is going to be multiple in different terms. Say for example, fundamental principles, through understanding the Chikitsa concept through fundamental principles, it is going to be repeated in a different terms. Okay, example, totals 18 fundamental principles applications are there, and how it is distributed term wise, 6 in the first term, 6 in the second term, and 6 are in the third term. Likewise, there are multiplication of these same type of NLH activities in different terms, and what title under they are we have mentioned in the left side. So if the question paper setter asks what question need to be taken out for the question paper setting, that clue is being given in this blueprint. So majority of the must questions should be from must to know content. Majority of the questions must be from must to know content. We have mentioned in table number 3 what is must to know and what is desire to know and what is nice to know. So majority will be from must to know. Then what about desire to know and nice to know? The questions from desirable to know part of syllabus shall not exceed 3 questions. Okay. The next option, questions from nice to know part of syllabus shall not exceed 2 questions. This is very important. So there is no much scope for the nice to know or desire to know for long question answers, which falls under the must to know content, and desire to know content may be taken for short answer questions. Okay, and in MCQ questions, you may have the 3 questions from the nice to desire to know and nice to know from 2 questions you can have as far as this MCQ pattern of assessment is concerned in final exam. And most important to know, for SAQs and LAQs, majority shall be drawn from the must to know part of the syllabus. Questions from the desirable to know part of syllabus shall not exceed 1 question for SAQ. And for LAQs, all LAQs shall be drawn exclusively from must to know category of the syllabus. No question shall be taken from the desirable to know or nice to know categorization. Number of LAQs should not exceed 1 per topic unless maximum marks exceed 20 per topic. Okay, likewise, different blueprints which are most apt and suitable for the topic we have mentioned here. So here we have mentioned the question paper pattern. I am just repeating this slide so that after mentioning the details of blueprint, you should come to know what is MCQ and how many MCQs will be there, and each MCQ, how many marks it carries, and short answers, how many marks it carries, long answer questions, how many marks it carries, and how the total marks is being calculated here in this table is being re-highlighted. So most important part of this presentation is NLH activity. I just want to highlight, we know importance of the Shloka Sthana, which is also known as Sutra Sthana, where the fundamental principles are mentioned thoroughly. We know this beautiful shloka, Shloka Sthanam Samudishtam Tantra Sasya Shirah Shubham. So without applying these fundamentals and learning Chikitsa Sutras directly, it is not going to give any fruitful outcome to the students. Because what used to happen in previous syllabus, they used to forget the previous fundamentals and they used to learn the given content of the syllabus. The merging of this fundamental principle with the Chikitsa Sutra should be done, and for this we have given a non-lecture activity in connection with this fundamental principle titled as Fundamental Principles of Samhitas, its application in different diseases. Say for example, Rakta Pitta. If we consider Rakta Pitta, we should not forget the Siddhantas presenting in the Sutra Sthana, and those applications should be brought in the Chikitsa understanding. So for example, if you take a Rakta Pitta, you need to understand whether the Samanya is applied or Vishesha is applied, what Guna Siddhanta is applied there, and what Shadupakramas mentioned, or whether it is going to be in Santarpanottajanya Vyadhi or Apatarpanottajanya Vyadhi, whether Langhana is needed or Brahmana is needed. If we forget the previous one and learn only given content, it is not going to give any fruitful outcome to the students who are going to learn the Samhita Adhyayana 3 level. So it is nothing but having the connection with the previous sections and studying the present content. This is very important knowledge activity which is placed in number 1. So the second important one is Sambhasha. We know Bhishak Bhishajam Sah Sambhashayet, and also the importance of this Tadvidya Sambhasha. Without the discussion, there is no proper gaining of the knowledge. However, there are other modes, Adhyayana, Adhyapana, but the Tadvidya Sambhasha also contributes for the gaining of knowledge. So that is why we have introduced the Sambhasha and particular topic we have given in this syllabus. Say for example, the Purnatva or Apurnatva of Basti, whether Basti is Purna Chikitsa or Ardha Chikitsa, this is to be debated. What are the views of Charaka in Siddhisthana or Sutrasthana? Or the Yoga Vahitva of Vata we can debate. We can tell students to debate on this literally mean giving a chance to do this Tadvidya Sambhasha. And Tadvidya Sambhasha can be done by making different groups. You can have 2 groups, or you can have multiple groups, then 2 groups also. Sthapana, Pradisthapana, Vitandavadi type of the management of groups you can do. And in each group, you may include 20 to 30, 35 students in one group, Sthapana, Pradisthapana, and the captain of that students of that group need to be noticed to the students. And all the groups are going to be taken for the debate. And priorly, before the debate, we are going to announce this topic to the students, and we tell them to prepare on this topic properly, and we tell them to gain various suggestions and guidelines by senior and expert teachers on this topic, and even the help of the PGs and their seniors for the proper guidance of this towards this topic, so that the debate would be very good for the students. So we have kept the second NLH activity, Sambhasha, here. So the third activity, NLH, is cross-sectional study. We know the cross-sectional study is being done in Ayurveda. In 30th chapter of Sutrasthana, he mentions the importance of cross-sectional study. We need to understand Sharira, we need to understand Vritti, Hetu, Vyadhi, Karma, Karya, Kala, Kartru, Karana, Vidhi, Vinishchay, etc. Dasha Prakarana, under 10 section of these, one need to study classically. But if you, the one way, if the understanding is done without understanding the cross-sectional of the study of the Samhita, again, it is not going to be useful for the students. That is why we have kept a cross-sectional understanding of the Samhita, and we are given particular topics also for this in a cross-sectional study. So, NL cross-sectional activity, identifying interlinks across the different sthanas of Charaka Samhita. So, how Chikitsa Sthana is linked with Kalpasthana, Kalpasthana is linked with Siddhisthana, and topics suggested are, if you take Vamana, Vireshana, Basti, Raktamokshana, what the cross-sectional of study mentions about Vamana, Vireshana, Basti, etc. topic. Or if you take Jwara also, how the Jwara is being highlighted in the Sutrasthana, and how the Nidana of Jwara is being explained, and what are the different remedies which comes for Jwara in Kalpasthana, and Siddhisthana, how the Purana Jwaras are tackled, etc. are need to be studied with the interlink. So that cross-sectional study is being introduced in this connection of lecture hours. And fourth activity, a comparative study of Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita we have given. We know the important, the most famous shloka, Ekam Shastram Adhyayana. Okay, likewise, we need to see the different opinions which are there in different shastras also. So I told that in the previous syllabus there was a limitation or a restriction to study only Charaka Samhita. That is okay, but in this present content there is also scope to have a look towards Sushruta Samhita, which is not touched by our students, especially through Department of Samhita Siddhanta in UG level. So there is a scope to understand the different perspective of Dhanvantari Sampradaya through the learning of Charaka Samhita. So here, comparative study of Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita is being given. We may have this NL activity through flipped classroom. What are required material, necessary accessories are there for the students. We need to give priorly to the students and make them to sit and study what is the, we are just here as a facilitator rather than a teacher. We are going to give every facility for the understanding of this concept, and they will understand how the comparative of the content of Charaka in comparison with Sushruta is understood, or any differences need to be studied. For example, first topic, if you take Rasayana Vidhi Adhyaya, is it okay if Rasayana Adhyaya is of Samhita, Charaka Samhita, if you study with Sarvopaghata Shamani Adhyaya and Medhayushkami Adhyaya, which are meant for Rasayana? Is it not a double boosting knowledge for the students of Ayurveda, where we are learning Charaka Samhita as Rasayana, as well as the content of Sushrutas which is mentioned under the title of these chapters and the content which is directly related and help to the understanding of Rasayana. Similarly, some of the examples we have given here, you may have an additional study of Sushruta Samhita along with Charaka in comparison with this Vachikarana Adhyaya and also Jwara, Harsha, etc. These are just examples we have highlighted how the syllabus is being framed for understanding the comparative study of Charaka Samhita with the Sushruta Samhita as an NLH activity 4. So we know this famous quotation when it comes to research methodology, Vidya, Vitarko, Vijnanam, Smriti, Tatparata, Kriya, etc. Here, the importance of the research is being explained. So what is the importance of this? We have one NLH activity titled as a review of a published article. If a student have a practice of seeing the research articles, how the pattern of research article would be, how it gets started, what is abstract, what is a discussion, what are keywords, what is discussion, what is conclusion, what is material and methods. If at all the students start to have the glimpses of these research articles and published on particular topics which aid their learning of the several topics of Samhitas, it would be a great help for the students. The published article will help directly learning the Samhitas content. So we have kept some of the topics to be studied and suggested, especially Rasayana, Prameha, Kushta, Grahani, need to be seen and understood if at all the published articles are there, which are indexed one, most importantly. If at all at national level also, okay, but most important, Web of Science type of articles, if the students study, they will understand and they will become a good learner of this research. So we have kept this, the published article review. So in every chapter of Charaka Samhita, it ends with Tatra Shloko. The summarization or sum up of the topic is being done, we know. But here, one of the activity which is titled as mapping we have given. However, mapping in this will be very short as we take Tatra Shloko, but by taking this type of Tatra Shloko, if you have a little or explanative content of that Tatra Shloko, it will be great helpful for the students. What I mean to say is, this is the example Tatra Shloko which are explained in different chapters. This slide depicts about that. And I'm going to give one example how the mapping is being done. I'm taking one example which is mentioned here as RH arthritis, that is rheumatoid arthritis here. Here whole mapping of the disease is being done. What is rheumatoid arthritis? What is the cause for that particular disease? What are the premonitory symptoms? What are the symptoms? Where is the site of manifestation? How the differential diagnosis need to be done? Okay, and how the treatment planning is to be done, and what are the investigation need to be done. Every point of that particular chapter or topic will come only one on paper. So the having the glimpses of the particular disease only on one paper and preparing for the exam, it is going to helpful for the student. If the student have this mapping in his mind, it is going to be very helpful. So we have kept mapping, and otherwise we have taken the help of Tatra Shloko. We have mentioned it is nothing but the depiction of Tatra Shloko, but further the elaboration of that type of Tatra Shloko, what are there in the Samhitas, need to be mentioned. The point wise elaboration is needed to understand everything in one paper. So the elaboration is mentioned here through the understanding of mapping, what I understand. Now we know the different siddhantas, how they are going to be helpful for understanding the whole content of the Samhita. There are Sarvatantra Siddhantas, Pratitantra Siddhantas, Adhikarana Siddhantas, Abhivibhava Siddhantas, Samana Siddhantas, Samanatantra Siddhantas are also there. So we need to understand different Siddhantas of Ayurveda, particularly Shalya Tantra as well as the Chikitsa Tantra of Charaka here. Comparative study of Chikitsa Siddhantas of Charaka and Sushruta is being done. For example, if you take an activity comparative study, which is titled as a 7, you may study the different, approach or siddhantas of two important systems. One is the medical line of system, and another one is the surgical line of system. The perspective of these two systems is different towards Arsha, where Charakacharya mentions Arsha and the importance of medical line of treatment, conservative line of treatment, and its importance he has mentioned, whereas surgical line of importance is being given by Sushruta. So that difference we need to understand on what basis he has mentioned that need to be studied by the students through different siddhantas. Likewise, you may have different ekanta hita, anekanta, like ekanta hita type of the siddhantas are there. So you can go with the different types of approaches and siddhantas which are mentioned in Sushruta Samhita. And also, followed by the seventh, eighth one is Tantra Yukti. We are understanding this Tantra Yukti in previous syllabus also, but we have not given much numbers to this Tantra Yukti, mainly 2 in first term, 2 in second term, and 2 in third term. Total 6 Tantra Yuktis type of adoptions we have mentioned. And the particular pertaining chapter also we have mentioned term wise. First term, what all Tantra Yuktis need to be applied, what Tantra Yuktis are present in particularly third chapter, sixth chapter, seventh chapter, 13th chapter, as far as this first term is concerned. You know the importance of Tantra Yuktis. They enlighten the knowledge. If we go in connection with the Tantra Yuktis, so the importance of Tantra Yukti we understood and brought in the practice. And most importantly, the 9th NLH activity is interview with a senior Ayurveda practitioner. And Ayurveda says that it is not going to be a very good part of the Ayurvedist if at all, if he becomes only a Jnana Kovida. Karma Kovida will also be there, that part. So understanding this, idam akhilam adhitya samyak arthan vimrushati yo avimanaha prayoga nityaha, one who practices this, that person and that practice is important. And since we don't have the scope for showing the all types of patients and disease diagnosis through practical understanding, so we have kept one interesting topic to visit the senior Ayurveda practitioner, renowned Ayurveda practitioner, and what interview can be done and what important point need to be taken from them. We have mentioned how they become involved in Ayurveda. Philosophy and principle in their practice need to be understood. Current practices of Ayurveda and the challenges what they have faced, and future various factors we can discuss with the senior Ayurveda, considering their experience in understanding the concepts of Samhita as well as adopting the clinical practice in their clinics. So the NLH activity interview with the senior with Ayurveda, senior Ayurveda Vaidya justified here. And you know the importance of the Vyakhya. You know, one of the Shastra Lakshana we have mentioned here. I mean, I have mentioned in this slide, Supranita Sutra Bhasha Sangraha Kramam is mentioned. If Samhita is endowed with the Tika Kara's Tika or a Bhasha Kara's Bhasha, it gives solid strength for the people who are the seeker of the knowledge of Ayurveda. So we have kept the Vyakhya in support of this lecture activity under the title Chakrapani Vyakhya. So what are the topic need to be covered? Exploring the Vyakhya of the first term, third, fourth, fifth, etc. chapters, 7th, 8th, 9th. In first term I am talking about. Next term it may change. Okay. So likewise, different approaches we have kept and this NLH activity titled as a 10th one. And 11th one is the recitation or memorizing the shlokas. We know the importance of this recitation of shloka. Idam agama siddhatvat pratyaksha phala darshanat mantravat samprayuktavyam. We know the Samhita, whole Samhita need to be by-hearted as far as their opinion is concerned. mantravat samprayuktavam. Not only by head or the practice need to be brought in the society, not only learning, but adopting these mantras in the practice is very important, and there should not be any doubt. So the by-hearting of shlokas or recitation of the shlokas is most important. We understood this point and brought in the syllabus through the title NLH activity, recite, memorize, and recall the shlokas. So we have given specific topics also in the syllabus, which are the most important shlokas to be recited for first term, second term, and third term. I have mentioned only in the content which is there for first term. The remaining are there in the remaining part of a syllabus of a second term and as well as third term. Now, moving to the 12th point, that is justification of chronological arrangement of Samhita. We know how the chronological order is very important for Ayurveda learners, especially for Samhita people. Tantra, Tantrartha, Sthana, and Adhyaya, Adhyayartha, or Prashna, Prashnartha, etc. are given, which are kept in order. So that order we should not miss, and we need to give the justification for the chronological arrangement of Samhita. It may be a section, or it may be Adhyaya, or it may be the Prakarana, etc. We need to see the importance of this chronological arrangement. So we have given justification for this order or arrangement. So we have brought the title as a 12th NLH activity in support to the lecture hours. So NLH activity of 12th, the purpose and the flow of Adhyaya need to be understood. The purpose of flow of Sthana need to be understood properly under this title. And after this, the 13th activity is integrated activity. We know the importance of other tantras. Some may mention it as Anya Tantra, some may mention it as Paratantra. Okay, yes, different Samhitas mention the importance of Anya Tantra also. Yes, there is explanation by commentators of what is Paratantra and Anya Tantra. But for our present era, we need to understand Anya Tantra also. Looking at the importance of this Anya Tantra, the integrative activities are also introduced. Anya Shastra Upapannanam is very important as far as Samhita's subjects are concerned. So we have brought integrative learning. Maybe example of Udara, Jalodara need to be understood. What other sciences say about the concept of this Udara. Vividhani Shastrani Pracharanti Loke. We know different medical sciences are there. In those sciences are also there, and in present time also there. We need to understand the different perspective of other sciences on particular topic, what they are saying. So to support this, we have brought a few NLH activities under the title integrative activities, which supports for understanding contemporary sciences with Charaka Samhita. So the 14th one, it is nothing but the justification of Adhyaya. In every chapter, most of the chapters, justification is done by Chakrapani. So we need to understand what justification he has given, why Raktapitta after Jwara, what is the connection between these diseases, why Prameha is being explained after Gulma, or Kushta is being explained before after Prameha. What is the connectivity of Unmada Apasmara? So likewise, the connectivity of chapter is there in Samhita. That connectivity is being understood through this NLH activity, that is justification for the Adhyaya. So that is 14th one. So these all are the introduction to various NLH activity I have given right from the first fundamental principle to the last, the understanding of the integrative activities along with justification of Adhyayas. So we have come to know the assessment methodologies for periodic assessments. Okay, we already mentioned how the assessment by students need to be done in final exams. These are going to helpful for their 15 marks, which are going to be sent for the university, and along with the 10 marks for elective courses and 75 marks for Viva examination. Total for 100 marks will be there for practical, and these all PA and term tests are going to aid for getting marks for practical paper. So this is how the total marks is going to be calculated, and we have mentioned it as A, B, C, etc. calculation of term periodic assessments as well as the term test, their average, and finally the average of these all periodic assessments and the term tests need to be sent for 15 marks if at all paper is 1, and most probably 30 marks if at all papers are 2. We have only one paper, so we have 15 marks here. So the most challenging part for teachers and student is the arrangement of lecture and non-lecture. I told that I will give just a clue how to arrange the pattern of teaching. If we have timetable, a lecture class which is there in 1 week and which is not giving connection to the NL activities, and if at all the pattern of teaching by teacher is only through teaching of lecture at once and taking non-lecture activities later part, that is not going to aid to the teacher, neither to the teacher nor to the students. What is best methodology? I share you that complete the lecture hours, and in connection with this, the non-lecture activity need to be followed in the timetable. So the student will understand the importance of NL activities along with the lecture activities. So if they miss the connectivity of lectures, even teacher also, there are chances of missing connectivity even through teachers to have a proper connection with lecture and non-lecture. If at all timetable is very scattered, if at all you take all the lecture and non-lecture activities at once, that is going to be a fruitful outcome to the teachers as well as students, and the syllabus which is framed by the different experts in this syllabus committee. For example, if you take the lecture of Rasayana Adhyaya, you can go directly to NLH activities. So we told that the Samhita Adhyayana, different Samhitas need to be understood. The different chapters which are mentioned in different Samhitas. As far as Sushruta Samhita is concerned, he has mentioned about Rasayana Vidhi Adhyayas. So we need to understand lecture hours of Charaka Samhita and non-lecture activity which is concerned to at a particular Adhyaya. These merging need to be happened. Then only students will understand the connectivity, what we are telling as a lecture and what we are telling as a non-lecture. Similarly, this need to be adapted to the all the chapters, maybe Raktapitta, maybe Gulma, maybe Prameha, maybe Shosha, etc. need to be adapted, followed by lectures for full this outcome for this syllabus, as well as the teachers, as well as the students. So I think I have covered most of the points which are given in the syllabus Samhita Adhyayana 3. So I thank you all, and I thank all the organizing committee giving a chance to present this new generation teaching methodology which is adopted for Samhita Adhyayana. If at all any queries are there, you can ask, you can raise question. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for a detailed session. The session is open for question and answers. Sir, there are a couple of questions already in the chat box, if you can stick. Anyone who wants to ask the question can click the hand raise icon. They will be unmuted. Once you are unmuted, you can ask the question. Sir, you can stop sharing.
Sir, one question is there on practical copy format. Yes, sir. We don't have any practical copy as such. We don't have practical slot. We have the NLH activity slot. And the case study can be done through Samhita-based assessment. We can take a case and we can assess through the fundamental principles, maybe Nidana Panchakas, maybe through the Shavita Pariksha. We need to understand how the perspective is developed in understanding the disease and patient from other department. We can visit the various departments. We should not hesitate, since the department is of others. Whole department, whole campus is our campus. So we need to visit to other department and request them. We have such activities, and if any cases are there, we need to visit to the PGs as well as the department HODs and request them, and tell them to give a case which they have studied and which is admitted in the hospital, so that the analysis of the whole disease is what they have done and what's supposed to be done through the Samhita need to be understood properly. So the case can be taken through this way. If at all practical understanding is concerned, as such there is no practical approach in this syllabus.
There is another question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Probably there are 30 plus NLH activities in distributed terms. First term, second term, third term, which starts from 17th point. The various NLH activities which are going to be more than the 30 plus, and 30 plus in second term and 30 plus in third term. Likewise, total 100 hours of NLH activity we have given in addition to lecture hours.
Dr. Nikita, are you able to see any hand raises?
Yes, sir. Just a second.
Okay. You can unmute them.
Yes, sir.
So most important in this, sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir, our university is Cahirs University, and we adopt the timetable which aid to the learning in lecture hours along with the non-lecture activities. So here what we are adopting is, here day-wise timetable we are trying to give to the students, not like the scattered timetable what we used to follow in previous syllabus. So day-wise timetable, if at all the department is going to have, it is going to be most beneficial for different departments if they follow that.
Yes, sir. So far, I have not seen anybody raising the hands.
Okay.
But we have one question from Vinu Malhotra, madam. If you want, shall I read it, or in first and second prof, we got activity file made from students. If we have to get that made in this prof also. If Prabhakar sir wants to address.
Yes, madam. I'm just looking at that question. Yes, madam. Yes, NLH activity book must be there. And if your college is applied for QCI inspection, these all are going to be considered as important documents where there is understanding of the sample faculty and sample students, and they understand what is being written by the students in concern to that particular timetable, and what teacher is being noted in his personal diary. These are going to be matched. So for the documentary sake, as well as for getting marks for this Viva OC, these are going to contribute for a good gaining good marks in the final exam.
Yes. Moreover, it has got 10 marks as far as the structured Viva is concerned. This activity book will be there is a practical examination, Viva Osan activity book carries 10 marks. Therefore, it is essential to
Yes.
carry forward for the third professional also. Sir, there is a question. Is NL activity book will be provided by the NCISN? Do you have such a plans?
No NLH activity. Actually, we have submitted the practical, we have made one copy which is going to helpful for case taking format. But presently, how the status is there, I don't know exactly. But meanwhile, if possible, I share in a Samhita group if possible, if everybody understand.
Okay, sir, for patiently taking on all the questions. Over to you, Vidha.
Thank you, sir, for organizing such a well-structured and informative seminar. We appreciate your excellent delivery and the valuable information you provided.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Dr. Anand Kati, sir, convener, Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad. Dr. Manoj Chaudhary, sir, convener. Dr. Mohan, sir, co-convener. Dr. Nikita Sharma, ma'am, coordinator. Dr. Devendra Singh, coordinator. I also extend my thanks to Dr. Rohit Ranjan, coordinator East Wing. Dr. Umang Pandya, coordinator West Wing. Dr. Sangeeta Mishra, coordinator North Wing. Dr. K. Venkat, coordinator South Wing. Dr. Bharat, coordinator Central Wing. And Dr. Arvind Kumar, coordinator UP. I also my thanks to Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad Executive Committee, including Professor Yogesh Mishra. Here, who is Iran. Wonderful event. It is definitely going to be helpful for all of us in the future. Thank you.